Hello everyone, Pinkpwnage here, and we are going to teach you how to heal a 17 Gambit. This is post boost. What you're going to do is pre-hot the tank. This is an extremely dangerous pull for a few reasons. First, you have to watch out for blue puddles on the floor. Second, you have to watch out for the huge stomp that the big boy does. And then third, you have to watch out for all the casts. Okay, so your job is to, as soon as you get down here, you're probably going to want to pop Luminathar's Living Silk or time it for one of those smashes, because that is serious, dangerous damage. And you are also going to want to help with kicks once you get stabilized, as you see me do here. And so your priority is make sure there's at least a little bit of hots on everyone, but definitely help out with kicks, because if everyone is kicking all the spells and this team is really good at doing so, then there really isn't a whole lot of damage. But there you can see the DK got hit by something and I was too slow to get him up and he got slammed. And so the spells themselves aren't dangerous here, but when the spells combined with the big boy's stomp does hit somebody, and then they're going to die. And it looks like, unfortunately, the DK stood in something there. There wasn't much going on there. Another dangerous thing is those stang pools. When those pools are in the water, they are extremely hard to see. Watch your feet and be careful, but definitely help out with kicks when you can. If there's one thing I wish I did better here, it was I could have probably saved that DK if I was fast enough to react. I didn't realize he was getting spanked so hard. And DKs, I'm usually not keeping as good as I am, honestly, because I know how many good defensives they have. But I think this guy was just sleeping at the beginning of the key. But he did kick into gear a little later. So now, after that first pull, it does become significantly easier to do the rest of the pulls until another big guy comes. Essentially, all you got to do here is do keep your tank up. You do have to heal tanks at this key level. So make sure you got some decent healer times rolling on the tank. Help out with kicks is definitely your priority here, because there really isn't a whole lot of heal unless you are missing kicks, besides a little bit on the tank. So here's where you can really start adding out damage, which will help, and you see me doing that here. And otherwise, not very dangerous. This is where you get to, definitely pad in some damage here. Otherwise, the pull I'm worried about next is really the second big pull of the key. We're going to have a lot of Murlocs and probably some ads if we have runners, and then another big guy. Okay, so you definitely want to make sure you watch out for that big slam. Keep everyone topped up until that slam goes. Okay, after the slam's over, the tidal stomp, then you can not have to stress out about having everyone top to 100% all the time, but you really do need everyone full here. Also, as a Resto Druid, you can soothe the Murlocs when they enrage, which is super helpful. So you saw me do it there. Okay, so now why this mob is really dangerous are runners. And so a runner went, and I wasn't paying attention. I was just stupidly adding damage onto a pillar there, a stick. But that ended up getting one of our teammates killed. Okay, what I could have done and what you should do is help with the runners. You can drop your vortex to keep them inside, which I didn't even use there and I should be using now. You can use your typhoon to blast them back. I can root them, entangling roots them. There's so many things I could have done better here instead of just messing around and try to pad some damage. Now, one little tip just for healing on a Resto Druid in general is, if you know you aren't going to be able to kick one of the spells or your teammates don't look like they've got it, just start pre-casting a regrowth on the person who's about to take the hit. And so that way, by the time they take the hit, you've already got that heal counteracting that damage, right? Pre-healing, essentially. Now, once the fight stabilizes for the mob, and you've got the kicks under control, and the heals are definitely under control, then it's damage time. Okay, now you'll see here I'm starting to focus more on, after we had that mess up, I'm trying to do better on preventing runners from pulling more. After that, I learned my lesson, forget damage, let's just focus on the important stuff that matters here. Damage is, for you, is honestly low priority with all your utility. You have a lot of utility you can help with here in terms of CC and in terms of kicks. Now, when the mob is winding down in health, and then that's really when your damage comes in handy. I like to say that for PUG keys, this is not like a pre-made key, right? I don't know these people. The best time you can come in and help damage is on like when there's only a few mobs left and none of the DPS want to use their cooldowns, and so it's taken a while to kill those just last few mobs. That's where your damage helps, because your damage is very similar to the other people's damage because they're not using cooldowns or anything. Okay, so here we go, another big pull. I'm trying to add a little bit more damage now since everyone's health is stabilized. Notice there I was really focused on the runners, or doing my best to help out what I could while I'm healing there. That might have actually prevented the runners from pulling another pack that we didn't need or didn't want. And so that's your primary focus. You can help out a lot more than you think. I did cast my vortex this time. But otherwise, I've learned a couple lessons here. I am a little rusty. I haven't done a Gambit in a while, let alone I just jumped into a 17 because I kind of took a break after Legion Remix hit. I was playing Legion Remix, and then keys were kind of slow until now, so I didn't really get into keys. But the good news is high keys are starting to pick up. Like it's a lot easier to get into them now. Like there's more of them. And so, yeah, it's really kind of fun to get back into it. And we've timed, I think, 317 so far, and I've just started back again, so it's kind of nice. But otherwise, really not a whole lot to talk about here. At this key level, they are always going to pull these 4 big guys into the boss. And to be honest, you don't really have to stress about these guys at all. These blue things, you can honestly just jump over and you're good. So I don't even sweat these guys as a healer at all. It sucks if you're melee DPS, of course, because it's hard to get damage on them, but they're really not that big a deal as long as the group knows how to handle them. And so on this boss now, the thing you do have to worry about is damage that's coming into the tank, but also the Purifying Burst coming now. Okay, now what I did was I used my Lumithar's Living Silk because I know there's a lot of ads and it's, a lot of stuff going on, so I wanted to use it early. But I used my Lumithar's Living Silk for the Purifying Burst because that's really the only thing that's dangerous here. Okay, the only thing that can kill a player besides them standing in something dumb is the Purifying Burst with some additional kind of damage, or if someone stands in front of the tank frontal, or if the ads don't get kicked and they're just free casting on someone, right? Which doesn't happen. And so really the only thing danger wise, assuming people know how to run the yellow spots of fire, the only thing danger wise is the Purifying Burst, and don't stand in the frontal here. Looking back at how I'm playing, I could have played a lot more aggressively with damage. My damage was definitely low overall in this key. Probably at minimum, I want to make sure that on the boss that my rip is up like all the time on them, and my rake, like I've got my those 2 DOTs and also my thrash on them, so I have that rolling on at least the boss. That would be ideal, because honestly, like, these people don't need all these heals I'm pumping out. Like, I don't need 3 heal over times on everyone. I'm just being a little bit paranoid. But you're totally cool, like, not having as much heal over times on the party as I am. Again, the real only damage that comes out is that Purifying Burst, and it won't one-shot them. So it's really not a hard fight to heal. So I do recommend, in retrospect, that you do not be as scared as I am and add in more damage. Okay, your damage helps. If you keep your thrash, your rake, your rip up on the boss at all times, you're pretty much going to have a 1 million like damage per second for this fight. So definitely do better than me with damage, right? Moonfire when you can as well. I do like to help out with the console when possible. And particularly during the first pull, I like to help out when the tank is busy with the mobs, right? A lot of times I see the tank just do it, and it makes sense because you're really fast as a Resto Druid, so you can get one of the balls to the consoles really quickly. But at the same time, you should always do the first console, because it's very hard for the tank to do it when he's got all those mobs and it's really messy, okay? But help out if you can. It's usually either the tank's job or the healer's unofficially. But otherwise, yep, I'm starting to add more damage. I realized, all right, I don't have to freak out here. This is where me being rusty really, like, hindered my, like, optimal play here. Like, I should have known that, like, this is not that big a deal to heal, like, at all. Like, I don't need to stress it. Honestly, I could just let my heal over times take care of it and we're good. And I really just need to put some more damage down on that boss. I was only, what, about like 600k-ish damage. Very low. I could have doubled that, essentially, if I played better. So, help out a little more. I know your damage, like, my damage is not even, what, like 1% of everyone else's. So, does it really matter? Maybe a few seconds, but it all adds up, right? Okay, so now on this pull, this is dangerous for the tank, but if the tank does it well, he will kite. Does the fight well, he will usually kite it. And so this tank is a good one, you can tell. How you can help in this pull is, well, the most dangerous thing in this pull, first off, is the casts. This is where it gets dangerous again. You definitely have to have help with casts. I was missing here. But what you want to do is you also want to shout or use your roar when they're about to cast their Saison, where they start to enrage. That'll stop them as well. And so you're trying to interrupt the rages. You can also soothe the rages, which is amazing. So do that on cooldown. It's a little bit of a cooldown on your soothes, but you can do one person like every 5 to 6 seconds-ish. So very helpful for the team. So you have a lot of things to do here. Keep heals over times up. There shouldn't be damage going out unless casts go off. So do a good job at kicking. I missed that one, unfortunately. I felt like I clicked it good. But otherwise, focus on definitely focus on the cast, because that's the main form of damage here. Use your cooldowns. Don't hold back, at least on this early pull, because you're going to get one more mob before the dragon comes. You will not need heavy cooldowns for the dragon until like maybe like a little bit in. So don't be afraid to like hold your cooldowns on this fight. This is a really dangerous fight. Casts can like almost one-shot someone here. So you do have to watch out. Okay, looking at how I could have played this better, I could have definitely been more aggressive on damage. Notice I'm extremely paranoid here. I'm just throwing heals over times just in case. That's how scared I am. I could have soothed more. Like, I'm not soothing that enrage there, right? It just makes it a little harder for the tank if I don't. And so I could have done that. A couple things better. Now I can also interrupt a little better. I can use my roar. But I definitely can add damage. Like, I'm healing nothing here, like, really, now until that comes out. But, like, I'm really not healing that much. Like, if I were to look at my overhealing, I bet you it would be a lot, okay? I think here you don't have to stress out about, like, being too anticipatory on your heals. As in, I don't have to, like, pre-heal so much. Because as long as, again, the kicks are getting stopped or, you know, interrupted, we're usually okay. So you really just need a little bit of heals on the tank, heals over times on the tank, and just maybe one rejuvenation on your party, right? And just make sure you got your life blooms out. So you can be more aggressive here, but definitely be good with your kick. And definitely better with your soothes. So to critique my play, definitely I need to be more comfortable. But I was, you know, I'm pretty rusty. I haven't healed a high key in a while until recently. So on this one, you definitely have to stack behind the boss so that the ads go in the front cone that for the tank to aim and hit and kill the mobs with. You do want to be as close to the butt of the dragon as possible. The tail does not hurt you. It used to when this dungeon was previously released, but you want to be as close to the butt as possible. But at the same time, you want to be stacked with your group. You do not want to be behind your group when you're behind the dragon, because if your group is ahead of you, then they're going to drop a pool and you are not going to be able to run through it unless you dash through it, okay? So you do want to be on the butt of the dragon, but at the same time, if you're not stacked to the team, you're going to be in trouble. And you'll see what happens here. And so it's like, uh-oh, I got stuck. They trapped me. And it's like, uh-oh, I'm scared. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shift into bear form and just jump and run over it, right? And just make sure I cast my frenzied regen. But now we haven't talked about those. Notice the white health bars on my party. That is the damage over time, or the debuff that goes on 2 people at a time at random. And that debuff is a buff and a debuff. It actually increases the haste of your party members who have it. And so if you are confident then you can let it just keep running on your party member, and just make sure that you put your life blooms on your party members. And so what I would do if I was trying to be a little more risky or risque is I would put the life blooms on the people who have that debuff. And then I'll try and do my best to hold on as long as possible before I dispel. I'll usually try to dispel on the tank first, unless someone's in trouble, because the tank doesn't really need the damage increase, but the damage dealers do, obviously. So get off the tank and yourself first, and your life bloom is actually enough to counteract the damage from that debuff until a little bit later. The damage gets worse over time, and so you can actually hold on with just a life bloom and a rejuvenation on your people who have it. So don't freak out too bad. Honestly, looking back retrospectively, I could have let that debuff be on my party members a lot longer. I just really didn't want to screw up this fight. Because one little thing going wrong in this fight can ruin it for everyone. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I played a little safe, but know that, especially if you're in lower keys, let that debuff go, because your heals are strong. If you'll see there, I have 1 rejuvenation and I have my life bloom, and it's keeping the person with the debuff full. And I also think I have wild growth runner or something else on them. So your heals are really strong. Trust your heal over times. We got really lucky. We had a DK who did excellent grips from the ads into the cone, I believe, and the tank was fantastic in terms of making sure the ads died. We really didn't have a loose ad at all there. So we did. It was a really clean fight there. So better play it safe than sorry is probably a good idea. But if you're in lower keys, I would definitely let the debuff run very long. And I do that in 12s, 13s, and even 14s and 15s. So this is extremely dangerous. You have to save your cooldowns here. Do not use your cooldowns willy-nilly until that comes out. That dang little orb that does party-wide damage. Okay, that is so dangerous. You have to use at least 1 cooldown every time it comes up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-hot everyone. I know that thing's coming. I could add damage, sure, but I just want to make sure that I do my part here, okay? And so heal over times. What I'll do is I'll keep my life blooms on my 2 squishiest people, at least 1 rejuvenation on the party, and then have a wild growth down, and then you have to have 1 cooldown in addition to all of that to make sure that you are safe for that AoE that's coming in pulsing right here. Okay, thankfully my team was awesome at getting that down. Really, it wasn't that big a deal because they are doing amazing, great team. But my strong recommendation to you in a PUG where you don't know whether you can trust your teammates is make sure you've got full, not full, but really good set of heal over times out on the whole party, plus 1 cooldown to be safe for this. And notice here, I did not have a cooldown, so I had to muscle through it. But again, what is muscle healing on our Resto Druid build? If you haven't seen our Resto Druid build video, I have 2 Nature's Grasps, which I essentially save for a cooldown to use as a cooldown when we're in trouble. So what I did there is I used my Nature's Swiftness for instant mega heals, and that's really what got us through that, to be honest. And so you definitely need some form of cooldown or your muscle heals. I call those the muscle heals. All right, otherwise don't stand in the frontal. That's pretty self-explanatory. Now, in addition to all that, you should be helping with kicks. Kicks plus the raid-wide damage, or the party, I keep saying raid-wide, the party-wide damage will kill somebody. But I knew my team was excellent at kicking here, so I didn't have to stress out too much. We do have a Chamois and a DK, so we have excellent kicks, and a Pally, which is really honestly fantastic, because that's the best kicks out there. I've got it in this team. But otherwise, you're probably going to have to help out a lot more than I'm doing with kicks. All right, I'm pretty sure my kicks was very low this key. Okay, here we go again. Ooh, I got hit there. Here it comes. And so I do have a cooldown. I used my Convoke there. I didn't really need it, but I wasn't taking any chances. Just don't chance it. Just let it roll with a cooldown every time. You're going to find that when I'm about to get hit by another one of those party-wide damages events, and the Wandering Pulsar, and I didn't have anything except Tranquility, and my team wasn't able to get it down quick, so I was panicking, and in my mind I was pressing all my defenses. I pressed my potion, and you should have a health potion for times like these, but I also had to press Tranquility, right? That's how bad that heal can get. Okay, biggest tip I can give you for this boss is ask someone in the party, your hunter, to do the orbs if possible. It'll make your life so much easier. If the hunter dies while doing the orbs, no big deal. If you die while doing the orbs, that's a big wipe, okay? Most likely. And so what are the orbs? This collapsing star. There's going to be a few of these. Every time you pull one, it does massive damage. Don't take 2 at a time like I did. The hunter didn't respond when I asked him to do it, so I wasn't sure if he was doing it. Before you grab one of those, you want to make sure that you have as much heal over times on your party as possible. Perhaps full heal over times. 1 to 2 regens on your party member, rejuvenations, and your life blooms out, as well as your efflorescence on the floor. Make sure you got everything. Hell, I would throw my wild growth heal over time out as well. Okay, that is heavy heals, and obviously you need at least 1 cooldown to handle it. All the rest of this stuff, at least here, is not a big deal. Okay, your team's going to do good at kicking the stuff, pulling the stuff, damaging. The one thing you have to worry about is that collapsing star. All right, don't pull 2 at a time. Horrible. We did it there. I just wasn't thinking because I didn't realize the hunter was doing it. Take 1, make sure you got your heal, you're stabilizing your party, then take another one. Okay, don't rush it unless you really have to. Those will last a bit longer than you think. All right, so the scary part about this too is that when you grab the orb, you might be out of range from your party members when you are healing and doing the orbs, which is very dangerous for Resto Druid. Okay, so I did walk out a little bit there so I could get in range of the hunter. Now for this one, since you are a Resto Druid and you can move really fast, if you don't have to heal, I always go for the farthest one to make it easier on my party. I'll go into cat form and use my dash. But otherwise, here if you want to, you can use Lumithar's Silk. I wouldn't stress it because I'd rather use the Lumithar's Living Silk for the Collapsing Star, because that should not one-shot someone, especially since these people at this level know to use a defensive. For these spears, obviously don't get hit by these spears. Like, you really shouldn't, because you don't have much to do now until the collapsing stars come. But thank God, if you get someone else to do it, your life will be so much easier because there's so much going on already. Otherwise, make sure you got at least 1 cooldown for the collapsing stars. More the better. You're going to have to muscle heal if you only have 1 cooldown, and you're going to probably see me do it right here even. Nope, I saved my muscle heals actually. Cool. So if you have full healer times in your party and you're casting your regrowths with clear casting, then that's probably enough if you use 1 cooldown for the collapsing stars, okay, when they burst. But don't get caught off guard. Even I forget about the last collapsing star there. So what people will do is they will grab the stars and leave the middle one and just let it blow up on its own, right? Don't forget about that one. I did. So for this one, assuming your team is good at making sure that you hit all those orbs, so obviously you have to make sure the arrows hit all the orbs, otherwise you're going to have to do it again. The trick there is don't use a cooldown or anything big, because it will not one-shot people. All right, just you'll have plenty of time to heal up by the time you get to this corner. Save it for now, and I put a countdown timer for when the collapsing stars are coming out, and I do recommend you do that as well. I did it with bigwigs. You can do it with deadly boss mobs, DBM, but make sure you put a countdown timer for those collapsing stars, because you need to be fully ready. Your life will be so much easier if you have those heal over times up before those stars start bombing your party. All right. So yeah, otherwise that's really this whole fight. Now if you do unfortunately have to go in there, dodge those crap spears while you're trying to heal and you're pulling an orb, it gets really messy really quick. My recommendation to you when you do it is you have to get there very quickly, because if you're taking one at a time and you're taking too long, you might be like you can actually take too long when you're healing and dodging and like taking the stars one at a time. Okay, so you do need a cooldown timer, particularly if you are going to do it by yourself. All right, if you don't have a countdown timer, it makes it that much harder for you. Okay, but otherwise, I hope you learned something from this video. While Gambit is probably the easiest key to time, it's honestly probably like it's the most stressful one for me just because of these orbs, right? But if you got someone for the orbs, honestly, super chill key to heal if you know what to be ready for. And in this video, we did give that to you. Okay, so good luck out there, and hopefully you time your high keys. All right, best of luck. See you in the next one.